Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And first of all, you should recognize our guest if you're a fan of the podcast. She's been on here before. We have Kathy back on, talking to her in the middle of the coronavirus outbreak that we're having. She works in the medical field, so I thought, what better guest to have on than someone that's been experienced in this for the last few days and weeks. And we also are going to, update you on what she's been doing with her health and fitness journey. That's what she was on for the first time. But most importantly, she's our current guest. Kathy, thank you so much for coming back on.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Well, before we get into the coronavirus, what's the weather like in Cleveland today?
So the weather today is actually not terrible. It was like 60, 65-ish today. Cloudy, rainy, but still it wasn't like in the 30s. So it's not too bad, but tomorrow's supposed to drop again. So it's always like a constant roller coaster here.
Which, I mean, I told her before that it's about 30 degrees up here in Minnesota. So hopefully it gets a little bit warmer once we get into the weekend. But I mean, everyone's
It is
talking.
the first day of spring.
Yeah, it is the first day of spring. So, but that doesn't mean anything up here. I mean, that's
No.
just, oh my God. And and I know that being in Minnesota, I'm still going to get like probably two more snowstorms that are probably going to get us at least like 6 inches apiece. I mean, that always happens late in the year that makes us realize that, hey, we might want to move. But the summers here are just too great to want to move. That's the only excuse that I really give people. But I mean, everyone's talking about it, the coronavirus. You work in the medical field. When did you hear about this, and how have things been going the last few days? I mean, I know that it's probably been very tough on everyone in the field.
Yeah, so obviously we kind of heard about it when it all started, like at the beginning of February in China. So, everybody was kind of up to date on just how it was spreading over there and then how it was spreading to Italy and then eventually coming over to the States. But, as soon as it hit Ohio, that's when everybody really kind of started taking this thing seriously, as they should. And living in Ohio, I feel like our governor is doing a really good job of just kind of staying on top of things and, having press conferences every day and shutting down certain businesses, which I feel like needs to happen. Um, I don't want to like freak anyone out or, we should be concerned. We shouldn't be afraid of this, but we should be concerned that we need to do our part and just, stay away from people and do the self quarantine and as much as we can. Working in the healthcare field, that'll never happen for me. I can't work from home. But if you are able to, the whole self quarantine thing, staying away from people is very, very important. That's the reason this is spreading. It spreads by droplet. So coughing, they tell you to cough in your elbow for a reason, washing your hands. I mean, yes, it kind of took a pandemic to get everybody to, do something that they should be doing all the time. But this virus is exactly that. It's a virus. It lives in our body. There's no antibiotic or antiviral that will kill it. Most recently, they're testing out a medicine right now that could potentially be a vaccine for it. But as of right now, they're still testing. And viruses change. It's just like the flu. It's gonna change, and if you get it, you can get it again. They constantly change, and that's just what's scary about this is that we don't know much about it. There is no vaccine, and that's why it's scary because the spread and just how fast it's moving.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen all those stories about like those idiots in Florida that are still on spring break and they're still gathering in groups, and it's just like
Yeah.
now granted, if I was interviewed when I was between the ages of 18 and 21, I would not have probably liked what I have said. I'd look back on that now and just be like, okay, God, I was an idiot. But
Yeah.
again, yeah, it's still like people like I had a friend that just left today on a trip to Arizona, and I'm like, what are you even gonna do down there? And she's like, oh well, the weather's she works in the healthcare field too. She's doing her residency, and I'm just like, and they all got dismissed. They're not
Yeah.
so, and then she's like, yeah, I'm just going down to Arizona because it's warmer, and I'm just like, oh my God. So yeah, I don't know just how to explain that to people any more than you need to stay in your homes. But what's it been like in the hospitals these last few days?
So I work in the OR, so I work in the operating room. And so as of yesterday, all of our elective cases were canceled. That meaning no procedures were to be performed if it were not a life-saving procedure, if it were not a procedure to save an organ. Um, or worsening of symptoms or the progression of a disease. So there's still a lot of gray area in that. So we still had some cases on today. A lot of like robotic cases where like you're removing an organ from cancer. A lot of urology cases. Some like general cases like gallbladder attacks or appendix, or like orthopedic fractures, things like that. So there is still work in the OR, but the majority of our cases are elective. And fortunately, I work for the Cleveland Clinic, and they have been wonderful, and they've provided our group of PAs the ability to kind of be dispersed throughout the hospital in different specialties. So, like, yesterday and today, I was up on the OB/GYN floor, like doing C-sections and delivering babies. So it's been really cool to be on that end of it because, like, it's a happy life, bringing a new life into the world when all this craziness is going on. So fortunately for us, like, we have been kind of placed in different specialties to help out where needed. It's just a good idea too to have backup, cross train as much as you can in case one of them goes down. So, but it's weird. It's eerie, where our cases are down more than 50%. So it's just usually, there's people everywhere, chaos, just kind of traffic everywhere. And now it's just kind of like got this eerie kind of, desolate feel to it, which is weird and it's hard, but our group is really good. We come together, we're there for each other, so we're all trying to do the best we can.
Well, the thing is, I'm one of those people. I'm more of a homebody, so I mean, my job got canceled for the next 3 weeks, and I just do this podcast for hobby. But I mean, I'm at my house, 90% of the time. So this is just average. This is just average for me. Like I'm thriving in this. While I have all these friends that are just going absolutely crazy. They're like, "How can you even do it?" And I was like, "I've been doing this for like the last 5 years." Okay, so
Yeah.
let's be. But yeah, it's a struggle for so many people. But one thing that I think needs to be stressed out the most is that, I mean, a lot of young people my age, and especially, like younger people too. Like I've seen, like kids that are like in high school just driving out and around, and they just think that they're invulnerable to this disease. You can get it too. I mean, even in Minnesota, we've had cases as young as 17, I think was the youngest one that we've got. You can still get this and still need to get medical attention
Yeah.
from it. Just because you might have less of a chance than someone who's older doesn't mean that it's not going to happen to you.
Right. The age range keeps changing every day. I think the youngest now was a 2-year-old that got it, but it was anywhere from 2 to 87 or something. So, exactly. I mean, don't think that you're not going to get it. Don't be that person that's going to think, oh, nothing bad is going to ever happen to me. It's really not about us. It's not about the young population. It's about going to the store and, if you accidentally sneeze or cough in front of Grandpa Joe and now, your grandpa's got it. It's just we have to be looking out for others and those who are elderly and those who are immunocompromised because, you know, being immunocompromised, if you have an underlying comorbidity with, either diabetes or heart problems, your body is already fighting against those diseases, which is if you get it, then your body is already under so much stress because you have all these other problems going on that it's going to be almost impossible for you to fight off this virus. I mean, it's a respiratory virus. It binds to the linings in your lungs, and that's what is really causing these deaths because it's just very aggressive and it's just so sad to see. I mean, we had 3 cases in our hospital alone. 2 were sent home to be quarantined, but the one is still in our ICU. She was a 53-year-old female, completely healthy. Now she's on a ventilator, fighting for her life, and it's crazy.
Mhm. Yeah, like I have a grandpa in Nebraska who's had 4 heart attacks. So like if he gets this, he's done. He's like 88 years old. And then I also have an aunt that has MS that she has to live at a home for this, and they're completely blocked off. Like they have guards in the entryway, like no one gets in and out. So because her immune system, I mean, yeah, anyone in there gets the disease. I mean, they're all goners. So yeah, I mean, especially in our generation, yeah, where everyone is a little bit more self-centered than maybe some past generations where it's like you got to realize the bigger picture in this where, yeah, if let's say like me or you gets this disease, our chances of getting something very serious from it are low, but we can
Yes.
still get it. I mean,
Right.
you never know. I mean, there are
Yeah.
kids my age that still died from the flu that
Hmm.
they're just very, very rare, but it's just, it can still happen. So anyone
Yeah.
out there, I mean, quarantine, I mean, and plus there's so many things to pass your time too. Like I have a stack pile of books that I'm probably going to get up to. Well, first of all,
Exactly.
First of all, editing these podcasts and doing these podcasts is going to take up about half my time. But yeah, any free time, yeah, you can do plenty of stuff. And I mean, that kind of leads us into our next top. I mean, workouts. A lot of people now are telling me they're like, "Oh, I can get in shape now because I have all this free time now, or I don't have anything to do." So when you knew kind of ahead of time, or a lot of people had a feeling probably a few days ahead of time that the gym were probably going to close, did you have a
Yeah.
backup plan that you were sort of formulating as to how you're able to, still be able to get workouts in?
Yeah, so over the years, I've kind of collected just a few things here and there just to have, at home, not if a gym closes, but just in case, I would like to do a workout before I go to work or something. So I have a few weights, bands, and yeah, I just mo recently bought a treadmill. Nothing crazy expensive, but it's just something to have now, and I wanted to kind of get one before all of this happened, but yeah, I mean, I've been doing these like at home workouts, like EMOM workouts, the every minute on the minute. My coach actually helped me out and kind of formulated a week plan of the things that I had available. So he's been helpful. Just going completely out of my comfort zone. Like I ran a 5K this morning and like, I don't know. It's just like, and I'm sore. Like I'm putting a new stimulus on my body and doing things that I normally wouldn't do outside of just your typical bodybuilding split. Not that, these workouts are harder or not as hard, but I'm just doing something different and my body is feeling it. So, you can do anything. Get outside, like you said, and go for a walk or just, if you're in crappy weather, buy a treadmill, do what you can. I was seeing people on Instagram just like fill their backpacks with water bottles or using laundry detergent bottles or gallons of water. Or the one guy like was just putting heavy stuff in a suitcase, and it's so easy to just use things around your house to create weights and just put your muscles under tension. So
Plus, if you have kids, that's living weight right there that you can use. I mean, we've
oh
we've
yeah,
we've
oh
seen
yeah,
plenty of that too. We've seen plenty of that too. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just getting out and doing, and I mean, obviously, make sure that you're like 6 feet away from someone and that you're doing that. But I have a lot of nature trails by my house. I live in the outer suburbs, so I'm lucky where I mean, there's no one going to be walking within, a foot of me. But
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting to see how so many people are adapting to this. But before this whole outbreak started, what's been your journey like with bodybuilding? Because I know the last time we talked was September of 2018, so it's been
Okay.
a year and a half basically.
I was
So
wondering that. I was like, gosh, when was the last time we
yeah.
talked?
Well, because I saw on the Skype call it was like September 18th, 2018. I was like, oh my god, it's like been a year and a half already. But so what
Oh
has your journey
goodness.
been like since then?
So last year, I only competed in two shows. I competed in North Americans in Pittsburgh in August, and then I competed again after that in October. I did the Cleveland show. So North Americans went really well. I ended up seventh, I think. So obviously, or no, seventh, yeah, seventh. I was in top callouts. So that was kind of my goal, was to be either top 10 or be in first callouts. So that show I couldn't have been happier with. And then I wanted to requalify for nationals for this year. And that's why I did the October show in Cleveland. But then I did that. I won my class, so I ended on a really good note there. And then just getting feedback from the judges from North Americans. I was going to push for Miami in November, but the feedback was that I still need to put on more muscle, and I probably wouldn't have achieved that in just a few short months. So we decided to just say, hey, let's jump into our off season and continue to grow. And we decided to actually take all of 2020 off and shoot for 2021. So, with all this going on and the canceling of shows, it was kind of a great plan because here I am deep in my off season now and I'm not worrying about, gosh, my show's canceled. Do I keep prepping? Do I, my heart breaks for those people that can't compete and have put so much hard work into their shows, but it doesn't mean, they're not canceled forever as of right now. I guess they're going to start them in May again, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't even imagine. But yeah, my goal is to go through this whole year without stepping on stage. So.
Well, and that's again, the guest that we had on yesterday said the same thing. And I mean, you guys both picked lucky year to take things out. But I mean, I feel bad for the competitors too, because when you're that
Yeah.
dieted down, your immune system is kind of shot too. So if they
Hmm.
got the disease, who knows what that would happen to them too if they're really dieted down and getting ready for the show. So again, I always give props to the bodybuilding federations for closing these shows, because I mean, I know a lot of people were complaining when Arnold got closed here, but I think it turned out to be the right call now that they closed, the Arnold in Australia. But yeah, there's always going to
Yeah.
be more times, and yeah, it's just so surreal, because like I even asked my parents, I was like, is any point in your life has anything like this ever happened? And nope, nothing. Even my grandpa, he was like, nope, none of this is nothing to this level of like a pandemic has ever happened with all this stuff being closed. I mean, I looked it up. The last time that a sports series got closed was 1919 during the Spanish flu, and the only reason that it got closed was because too many of the players were sick that they couldn't field the hockey team.
Oh my gosh.
So that just shows you how things were a little different back then, where they didn't really care about people getting infected, but it was just like, oh, we couldn't field the hockey team, so we're just gonna not play then, basically. So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
know, it's crazy. And just like even the seniors out there who can't play their last basketball game, or, their last graduation even,
Oh,
or
yeah, I was thinking, yeah, missing
you know,
prom or graduation my senior year. Yeah, that would suck. Yeah,
I
that
know.
would.
It's awful. I mean, that's just such a memorable moment in your life, and for that to just be kind of wiped away out of your control, it's like, oh, it sucks.
Well, so here's the thing: my alma mater, Minnesota State Mankato, they were the number one ranked team in college hockey, and their tournament got closed a week before they were able to play. So the one year when they could have maybe had a chance to finally win a national championship, it got canceled. But no, I
Yeah.
I mean, in Minnesota, boys high school hockey is the big deal. We have like 20,000 people attending the games. That was able to happen because that happened a week before all the shutdowns happened. So they
Oh,
barely got
wow.
it in. But girls basketball, we were hearing about it after the NBA shutdown. They still had their semifinal games that night, but the next day they canceled the state championship games. Where I was just thinking, I was like, just let them play that one game, just that one, and then let it be done. But yeah, I mean, it's just so. I mean, that one night, I was freaking out, not because of like getting the disease or something, but just like this has never happened when they closed the NHL and the NBA. I mean, it's just so surreal. And I was like, thank God it didn't happen a month before, because could you imagine if it was the Super Bowl and they decided that they had to shut it down? That would have been insane. But during the year and a half since we talked to you, what do you think is one body part that you've improved most on?
I'd say my shoulders, like my upper body in general. I feel like that is just a weak point of mine. It's hard for me to put muscle on my arms.
Yeah,
But I mean, I still feel
you
like
got
I
you
have
got
a
plenty of
little
muscle.
bit
Give
to
give us
move.
give,
I
give us a
don't
flex.
feel
Give
like,
us a flex. You got plenty of muscle.
I mean, I'm getting there.
She's getting there. Look at that.
But yeah, we still got some work to do, put some more muscle on my upper body. But I do feel like I've switched up my workouts to a more progressive overload, and just have really tried to focus on my like more lateral delts, and just a bunch of lateral raises, shoulder pressing. So I really just trying to keep building my upper body.
One of the training techniques that I mean I've been talking about all the time ever, because I was aware of it before I got started, but I didn't really practice it as much. But now I use it frequently, is time under tension. Do you like to use a lot of time under tension in your training?
Absolutely. That's the only way you're going to build muscle. And with this whole kind of, quarantine thing and people doing at home workouts, it's great. I mean, you're not going to be packing on a bunch of muscle right now. But as long as you're moving, you're doing something. So, I mean, that's just the bottom line. You got to do what you can to stay active, keep moving, stay on your macros, stay on your diet, whatever you need to do to get through this little break, because it's all going to end. It will. There is an end. It's just kind of this kind of weird little limbo right now. So, unfortunately, like, yeah, no, if you have a home gym, that's awesome. But, the majority of people, as long as you're doing something, time under tension with using bands, that's going to be your best bet.
I mean, and again, if you do get absolutely jacked and shredded during this break, I want to talk to you then, because you have found the secret that so many people are looking for. Then, if you're able to do it from just bands and weights, you are
Yeah,
definitely a specimen that I need to have. That I need to talk. I'd spend my entire life savings on to train with you once then, because you have found the
yeah,
secret that
yeah.
that everyone is looking forward. And that's that.
Right.
Yeah,
Unless you have
absolutely.
some crazy genetics that you're
Yeah.
just packing on a bunch of muscle from using bands.
We've had some of them on the podcast, but it's just absolutely, yeah, they are definitely the like 0.1 percenters. But when it comes to maintaining your diet and your nutrition, have you found it a struggle, or what's it been like to sort of still maintain your supply of food? Because I know that all these places have been, just swamped with people. I mean, I know that there's some places where there's no meat even on the shelves anymore because everyone just bought them out. Has it been what's it been like for you to be able to still get the stuff that you need to eat?
So I use a meal prep company called Icon Meals. I've used them for almost 2 years now. So they've been offering like free shipping like every week. So every time they do that, I stock up. I usually go for the weekly meals and the a la carte, like the meat by the pound. So I'll just stock up on the chicken. Their turkey's great. They have so many different options, and you can customize your meals too. So those have been clutch for me. I mean, I am like stocked. My freezer is full of Icon meals, and I have a code if you want. So,
Absolutely. We'll put the code down below for everyone, and it'll be I'll have it play on the video too when she's talking about it, because yeah, if it's free shipping and you can get your meals delivered right to you, I mean that is clutch right there. Because I mean my parents, I mean I'm still at home with my parents for the next. I mean I was gonna move out actually in like 2 weeks, but that's definitely not gonna happen for. It's probably gonna be delayed for a few more months. But whenever my mom would go out, yeah, she's like it is a mess out there. Like people are just it's so yeah. If you can get any way to get your meals delivered, yeah, more like I mean I'd support that one.
and just like kind of searching around outside kind of what you're normally going to get. I mean, there's tons of protein sources out there. Like people forget about the canned tuna and the packets of tuna, or just like beans and even the frozen chicken is it's better than nothing. But yeah, just kind of go down those aisles that never they tell you not to go down in the middle, and just kind of see what you can get. But yeah, it's just kind of hit or miss. I mean, there's certain grocery stores here that are completely like fully stocked. It's just kind of you might have to go to a few different stops.
I almost threw up in my mouth when she said canned tuna because I had bad experiences with that when I was a kid. So yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
no,
mean, it's a good
yeah.
source of
Oh,
protein, but
absolutely. No, yeah, you're like our 30th guest that has promoted tuna too, and yeah, I promote it too. But it's just tuna's. It's one of those things where it's an acquired taste. I think
yeah.
for some people, it's kind of like caviar or other things like that. But when it comes also down to, I mean, so many things with this whole crisis where people are just trying to get started working out. And I mean, this is a time now where I think it's even harder if you want to get started in your journey, because like you said, if you're just doing free weights or you're just doing bands, I mean, you're not going to get those results. But what advice do you have for anyone who's looking to maybe just get started, where they think, oh, hey, I might have 2-3 weeks off now where I'm not working, and I might be all stocked up, and I just want to get started. So when this gets lifted, I don't have to go to the gym and just be completely like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah. Um, Honestly, just walk. I mean, we have a free set of legs that you can just get up and walk outside. And if you have kids, even better. I mean, I'm sure there's people at home right now trying to teach, do the at home school stuff, which props to them because I would never be able to do that. So, um, but yeah, just like playing with your kids, running around with your kids, and just staying active and just walking. Honestly, walking is the best thing you can do for yourself. Just, having that steady state movement. You're going to be burning a lot more calories than just sitting on the couch watching Netflix. So get out there, turn the news off, and just kind of do your best and get out there. Take 20-minute breaks and then go back outside, wash your hands, do what you need to do. But yeah, just get out there and walk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a night owl myself, so I usually wait now until usually around like midnight is when I normally go out and then go for like an hour long walk, just because there's absolutely no one outside, and it's
Yeah.
perfect. But the only bummer about that is being in Minnesota, it's going to be like 10 degrees by the time it hits midnight. So, you're going to need to be, really bundled up. But yeah, going for a walk, yeah, anyone out there, I mean, we were meant to walk outside. That's, we weren't meant to be cooped up in a house all the time, but like again, it's just something that has to be done. But when it also comes down to your personal fitness journey, have you mixed your workouts up at all since I mean, I know you changed it up a little bit, but what else have you done in your journey in the last year and a half to really try to see more results?
Um, so really I've just tried with reverse dieting, we were bumping up my calories every couple weeks and decreasing my cardio. Um, I really went from having like a prescribed amount of cardio to just hitting like a step count. So we would try to strive for like, okay, 20 minutes of cardio or 10,000 steps a day. Um, and being a hospital, working at the hospital, you think I would walk around a lot, but I really don't. I'm in surgery. I literally stand there for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time. So yeah, I'm constantly upright, but I'm not really moving. The only time I'm really moving is in between cases, or if I am able to like get a lap around the hospital after I eat lunch or something. But really, I'm not moving that much at work. So hitting a step count was really nice because like it kind of got my thoughts away from, okay, now I have to like get up early and do cardio. And so that's been really nice, just kind of pulling away from the prescribed cardio and just hitting a step count because I don't feel like it's forced. I feel like, okay, I can get this in, just, take a casual walk and not have to like bust my butt to like hit this cardio um, time, I guess. So that's been really nice just for my body and for my mind too. So that's kind of been the biggest thing. As far as like lifting, I kind of took on my own training and just did what kind of like felt good for my body. Just was doing my own splits, and then my coach was doing my macros. So that's been kind of fun too. Just kind of playing around, the exercises that I know I like, and just trying to keep track of my progressive overload and just trying to get stronger week after week.
Yeah, and that's really all you can do. And it's just, yeah, try and mix things up because so many people, I think I was stuck in it too. Like, I don't know if I talked about this the last time we had you on, but I mean, I was doing the same workouts basically all throughout high school and through a lot of college. And, you see that, you don't get as much, the results really do stymie down as your body gets used to it. So you really need to, yeah, mix things up every once in a while. And it's great that you're doing that. But what have your hours been like at the hospital now? Have they really got you guys going overtime?
No, I work 7 to 3:30, so my shift has pretty much stayed the same unless I'm on call. Um, Sometimes if I'm on call, I'll have to stay a little bit later, or I'm on call, overnight. I might get called in the middle of the night. Just depends what day I'm on call. But no, as far as like our hours, they've been really good about just actually, if we do have a case in the OR, they're allowing us to leave a little bit early just because they don't want us to be exposed. I mean, us as healthcare workers, we're the ones that are more at risk here, just because people are just flying into the ER. My manager and my boss have been really good about just trying to get us out of there as soon as we're done with our work. So yeah,
I've been to the hospital once in my life. It was like 3 years ago for it was for I broke my elbow, or it was part of my elbow where like I chipped part. I was only in there for like a day or so, but yeah, those nurses, yeah, they're so undervalued that I say, especially the
yeah.
nurses. So yeah, definitely a huge shout out to them. But what are they telling? I mean, one question that I get a lot from my parents and a lot from some friends because I know I do this podcast, and I told them I was having a healthcare or I was having someone in the medical field on, and they said, "Can you ask them these questions?" And one of the big ones was, at what point, if you start to get symptoms maybe that you think of coronavirus, at what point should you go and seek medical help? Because some people, like if you get a mild case of it, you're told not to, you can just lay it out at home. Like if you just have a little bit of a fever and just a little bit of a cough, you're fine. But at what point are they telling you guys to tell people that like they should come in and try to get help?
It's a great question. So, um, the number one symptom that you're going to see from coronavirus is a fever. And what they're telling people is if it's 100.4, that's when you need to go to the ER. That's when you need to go in. Um, the Cleveland Clinic did kind of restrict their guidelines as far as who they're testing and who they're not, just because they were getting so many people and they were running out of supplies. So I know it was the fever of 100.4, age greater than 61 with a cough, and if you have some underlying disease. So, but yeah, the number one symptom that you're going to see with this is a fever. So anything above 100.4, you definitely want to seek medical attention.
Oh wow, that's different because I've heard so many different numbers on that. So it's great that we got your advice because I've heard like 102, I've heard like 103, and that I was like that seems a little too high for me. If you're going at 103, you definitely shouldn't be just trying to fight this at home. So yeah, everyone, you heard it here. I mean, 100, point four, go in and get tested. And I mean, obviously, people should know deep down if they really need the help or not, because I think we all sort of have that innate, feeling inside of knowing that, like, okay, this is getting really, really bad. And anyone, yeah, if you are infected, I mean, just stay at home. I personally, just in case I ever got infected, I bought like a huge 250 pack of those like mini freezies, like those flavored freezies that
Yeah.
I'm just gonna inhale those then if I get sick then, because that's the one thing
Yeah.
that
And I just wanted to like debunk a myth too. Wearing a mask is not necessary for the general public, so stop taking masks. The only thing I will say, you're not wrong in wearing a mask. You're not wrong. That's going to help you not touch your face. Okay, that's just going to be that constant reminder to not touch your face after you've touched a doorknob or something. That's how you're going to spread it, is if somebody, coughed in their hand, they touched a doorknob, then you touch the doorknob, and then you touch your face, and then there you go. So it's a good reminder to not touch your face, but it is not necessary to wear a mask in the general public. You want to save these, they call it PPE, so protective personal equipment, for the ones who really need it. Those who are testing patients, those who work in the OR. So we are, that is one thing, like, I will say, like, our supplies are severely decreased. So save those for your healthcare workers.
Well, and I was gonna say I got a catcher's mask too, so I mean that basically does the same
There
trick
you go.
because a lot of people, yeah, you don't realize that doesn't really help you, and I think for a lot of people it's kind of like their placebo, where they just think that if they have it on, that they're safe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And if it makes you feel better, that's fine. But I mean, I don't know, wear a scarf around your mouth or something, or, breathe into your hoodie or something. You don't necessarily need like a medical mask. The only one that's actually going to prevent you from getting it is, there's two types of masks. It's the ones you see people wearing, and then the N95, which you actually have to personally get tested for and see if there's any leaks around it. And those are the only one that's going to actually prevent the droplets from coming in.
or you could just go full hazmat suit if you're really, really
Right.
paranoid. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
well, and I was gonna say so I do have to give this warning out there, because there have been people saying that they're in like places like, if anyone's in New York listening to this, or like California, there are places where there've been reports of people walking house to house in hazmat suits saying that they're testing for the coronavirus, and if you open the door, they rob you. So everyone out there, if you have people knocking on your door in hazmat suits saying that they're testing for it, especially if you're in like big cities where the people can just go from house to house, don't answer your door. That's the one thing. I've a lot of celebrities have been saying that, so I just wanted to put that out there as well, because a lot of people are trying to
Yeah. And then they're like, selling toilet paper for quadruple the price on Amazon or whatever, eBay. I don't even know.
well, I saw the story of that one guy who like 3 weeks ago he bought up like thousands upon thousands of dollars of toilet paper, but then Amazon blocked him from selling it, so now he was forced to donate it to like some places or whatever that he had. But yeah, he was selling it for like 20 times what he bought for it at a certain time, and he was like, yeah, it's like come on now. But is the toilet paper situation as critical in Cleveland as it is in Minnesota?
It's bad, and I don't know why. It's honestly, it's the fear of the unknown, and people are just afraid to be out of control, so they're just stocking up in case all the stores close down, but it's not necessary. It really isn't. Even like California right now, they're on lockdown, but their stores are still open. So you're going to be able to get your food and your toilet paper. So, I mean, the toilet paper memes are kind of funny, but
Oh yeah. Well, and like I tell people, 99% of human history we have not used toilet paper, and we've made it that far. So it's like you can have leaves or something like that out in your backyard. I mean, it's like it's not gonna get that bad. It's like, come on, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of comical to watch, but
Well, I'm just, the only thing I'm happy about is because I do not have that much money invested in the stock market, and now that it's tanking, I'm just gonna wait until it gets to its absolute low and then just pump in some money. I'm gonna give advice for people out there that I've heard, is that you places like Six Flags, where the stock is just going absolutely down because no one's attending it. It was at like 55 like a month ago, and now it's at like $11. So anyone look out for that. And then there's like some gas company that I'll leave a link up to, where it's gone down like 10 times what it was worth before. So this could be, it's not profiting off of other people's suffering. It's profiting off of people being dumb and trading their stocks away. That's how I like to put it.
there
But
you go.
yeah, I mean, there's positive ways to think about this as things get worse. But I know that this is a dumb thing to ask because we don't know, but is there a timetable that they're giving you guys of when that we could expect this to be over with, at least the quarantine part?
Um, they're saying like end of April, beginning of May. Um, just seeing that what the numbers are doing right now, hopefully sooner. They haven't had any more confirmed cases in China for the last 2 days, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I'm
Well, I
pretty
was going
sure.
to say never trust a communist country when it comes to reporting the facts.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not exactly sure how accurate that is, but the numbers do seem to be decreasing. But as of right now, they're kind of only going to get worse here before it gets better. But yeah, they're kind of telling us to just kind of we're gonna coast at this rate for probably another month or two. So
One thing that my very selfish younger brother said, which I mean, it is a point, and it is, it's stupid, but everyone's seen that graph in the last few days where it's like, had we let this thing go, and then like the time period that it would take for it to like go really really high and then drop
yeah,
down, but now we're trying to steady it out. He had a stupid point where he's like, yeah, but it would take less time if we just let it go all the way up and then go down. Like it shows on the graph that it takes less time, but I just don't get. I mean, I get that mindset from being, like he's 19 years
you're
old.
gonna lose
Okay,
a lot of
yeah,
lives.
yeah, he's
It's
19 years old, so
yeah,
that's my excuse that I have for him. When he's like, yeah, I want to go out and but yeah, you're gonna lose so many more lives, and I know a lot of people selfishly probably have that thought deep down when they see that graph. But I'm just answering that right then and there. It's like, think about. I mean, it's like, just imagine your family members. If you don't have any older family members, just imagine, people around you that you might know that are older, and people don't realize, especially with America. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast where there's a guy saying, I mean, diabetes is huge in the United States with our obesity problem. And that's one of those causes that can really affect this disease. So we might actually be seeing a higher death rate than places like China and other countries where they have a lower rate of obesity. So that's something that we got to watch out for too, as well.
yeah, absolutely. And just being in Ohio and seeing what we're doing, I think it's necessary to shut down the malls and the gyms and salons and restaurants. I mean, if that's what you do for a living, I mean, it sucks. It really does. My heart breaks for those people too who like mothers out there, single moms or whatever, who work as waitresses. But there are opportunities for other work. You can't apply for unemployment. So, and it's not going to be this way forever. So just, yeah, the whole flattening of the curve thing, that's just, you want to decrease the risk of spreading to someone else as much as possible.
Well, and anyone out there looking for jobs, I read it online today that Papa John's and Domino's are hiring because they have so many needs for pizza delivery that they're
Yeah,
madly hiring right now. So if you want to get a little part-time gig for a month or so and make some money, go and do
right.
that. And now they're just having you drop it off like on their driveway, basically. People's drive. They don't even have you go up and like hand it to them. So that.
They're doing that for beer now too. They're doing beer delivery.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I was thinking, like, since I don't have a job for 3 weeks, I was like, yeah, if any of the neighbors' kids, like, if any of the parents have to go to school or work or whatever, and just watch them. But yeah, there are some opportunities out there. But I mean, this is one scenario where you look at that and you're like, first of all, how are we not prepared for this? But hopefully, you think that after this we become more prepared. But I. I don't want to say that just because we've had so many of these pandemics in the past. Like if you go back to the Spanish flu, we didn't really change that much until after then. Like we didn't make stuff. But do you think that hopefully after this pandemic, we will start to take, disease a lot more seriously than we might have been a little bit more relaxed about it?
I think so. I think, just going back to the whole hand washing thing, it took a pandemic to, get everybody to just do what we should be doing all along. And yeah, just kind of taking this as serious as possible. I mean, the coronavirus has been around. This is just the first time it's actually been in a human. So I think they're saying it came from bats in China. Somehow it was able to go from animal to human, and the fear of the unknown of what this virus is actually capable of. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not a scientist or a chemist or, biologist, but just, yeah, I mean, they're seeing it firsthand. They're right there in it, in the thick of it. And yeah, I think it's going to be something that we take a lot more serious going forward.
Well, and I'm going to say too, we got lucky that it was the coronavirus and not like Ebola or something like that coming around. So I think, I mean, I'm not saying that at the expense of the people that have already died and the people that are going to die, but it could have been much, much worse. So this is I think it's a really good wake up call for so many people
Yeah.
that to take these things seriously because, yeah, I mean, it feels like we've been living in a movie the past week and it's probably going to feel like that for the next at least couple of weeks. But yeah, it's like people just, you
Yeah.
can find plenty of ways to entertain yourself. I mean,
People have to take it seriously. I mean, the media does kind of hype it up a little bit. I will admit that. And
I watch an hour of the media and I'm stocking up and making a bomb shelter in my backyard,
yeah,
basically. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, they're gonna say it almost makes it sound like if you get the coronavirus, you're gonna be in the ICU intubated. That's not gonna be the case. A lot of people are walking around, don't even know they have it, completely fine. You're able to recover from this. Majority of cases are able to just go home and recover. But it's those ones that don't, that you're seeing in the media, but it moves, man. It moves fast, and you got to catch it.
Have they figured out if there's people that are just naturally immune to it? Because I think with all diseases, there tends to be like a small percentage of the population which just might be genetically immune to it. Have they found that some people might be like that?
Not that I've heard. No, I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah. Because yeah, you always figure like there's some of these people where like they're around so many people that are infected, and like you always hear about sometimes those families where everyone else besides one person gets infected when they're just
Yeah,
like when they're just sharing everything, and you're like, yeah, wow,
yeah.
that's insane. But yeah, absolute crazy times that we live in. But a question that I like to ask before we wrap things up that I ask, all the
Yeah.
health and fitness guests is if we were to talk to you again a year from now, I mean, I know you're taking the rest of the year off to, get bigger and get stronger. What are some goals that you have when it comes to your fitness journey? And then what are some goals that you have just in your overall life that you would have liked to achieve if we were to talk to you a year from today?
So, for a year from today, I want to compete. My goal is to get my pro card. So, we're going to shoot for May of 2021, and that's, pretty early in the year. So, it gives myself a really long competition season where I have multiple opportunities to get that pro card. So, hopefully 2021 is my year. So, that's my goal. Um, and just moving forward, I love competing. I love getting on stage. So this is actually very hard for me to not compete this year. It's necessary, but I'm a person who likes to prep more than I like to be in off season. If you told me to start prepping now, I would, but I know in this sport, I mean, people are showing up looking freaking incredible. I mean, you already need to look like a pro to go pro. So these shows are just getting more competitive each year. So I know it's necessary for me to take some time off away and come back stronger next year.
Yeah, and that's such a great goal. And lastly, I mean, we talked about this the first time, but bodybuilding is so much more of a mental sport than it is physical. I mean, people don't realize that where they just think that it's just working out and they go on stage and they pose, but that's 1% of the whole lifestyle. But the mental aspect is so important. But being that it isn't a lockdown, what has that been like mentally for you to adjust to that? Because I mean, when you're a bodybuilder, you are down to such a strict schedule where it's you get your workout done at this time a lot of I tend to figure that bodybuilders are more, they're so much more goal oriented and focused when it comes to just maintaining this. But since it has maybe whacked things up a little bit in your life, what has that been like mentally for you to adjust to like, oh, this is going to be the new reality for a couple of weeks or a few months before, I can finally get back to my regular routine?
Yeah. Um, for me, I'm the kind of the person that like always has a structure. Just I am always gonna come up with some sort of plan, whether that be I'm in prep or not in prep, whether I'm on lockdown or I'm not on lockdown. I'm always gonna have a plan. So I'm never just kind of like flying by the whatever the saying is, shoestrings or whatever. I'm always gonna be prepared. So and I just know, personally too, that our bodies are smart. Our bodies are not just going to lose all our muscle in a month or 2 months. It takes a lot for your body to lose muscle. So yeah, I might not be, gaining much right now, but I know that my muscle memory is going to still be there when I do get back into the gym. So I'm not too worried about it right now. It's kind of a nice little break, honestly. There's plenty of opportunity. You could take a deload week. You can work on balance, flexibility, foam rolling, so many other, parts of fitness, mind, do some yoga, just, right now I'm just kind of trying to do the best I can with my at-home workouts and just trying to keep up with as much cardio as I can, but I'm not stressing over it.
And lastly, I think a lot of people need this is, do you have any Netflix shows that you recommend to everyone to binge watch? Because so many people I think are looking for shows to watch.
Um, I'm not a I've recently got into Netflix, but um I watched You.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's old news now, but um I love trash TV, so I'm just gonna throw it out there. I watched Love is Blind. So I know,
I
it's
have so many of my
terrible.
friends bitching about that show and I'm just like,
It's
"No, I'm not going to
awful.
watch it."
It's terrible. Don't. I mean, I don't even know why I watched it. I can't tell a lie though. I watched the whole thing. But yeah, not
I enjoyed You. I will say that. That's one of
yeah.
those things though where it wanted me to delete all of my technology though cuz I'm like people can do that. Like if you look at that like you can literally like take over someone's life if you really want to like technology-wise. It's crazy,
Yeah,
but it's
I know. It's nuts.
yeah.
There was like I like the documentaries too. Like I watched The Pharmacist. I don't know if you watched that, but
Oh yeah, yep, yep.
yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. I also watched the one Icarus was on Netflix. I watched that where it's about the guy who he did the Tour de France, he did it naturally and then he
Oh,
took steroids, but it was just for a scientific study. Like he came out and he admitted that he was doing it just for like a study just to see how much he improved.
okay.
And he went from like 130th place to like 15th place just over like one
Wow.
year just from taking it. And then he talks about and then he's the one that uncovered the Russian doping program for the Olympics where he
Wow.
talked to the
Okay.
guy and he got the guy out of Russia because they were planning on killing him then because obviously Russia they still kind of do that stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
So he got him out and into the U.S. and it's I highly recommend everyone go and check it out. That was like a year and a half ago, but I think it still might be on there. But yeah, if you can look, I mean it's a great movie or it's a great documentary. It's like an hour and a half long, but yeah, it is out because it starts out with him just trying the Olympic thing or trying the bike thing, and then it goes on to a whole different thing when he uncovers all this stuff. So it
Wow.
is super fascinating. But again, you guys, we cannot thank Kathy enough for coming back on and especially in these times to give us some advice and talk to us about the coronavirus because so many people are asking so many questions and again, yeah, we wish you nothing but the best in your journey. And honestly, I think you're going to be doing great in 2021. We look forward to that. I'll have you back on before your show in May in 2021 so we can see how you've improved. But honestly, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing and keep inspiring people. And again, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, again, you guys, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing out. Have a great day, everyone.